everyone, I'm Rich Lamont. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to my kitchen. So today's video is going to be about dyeing some turkey tail feathers. I had actually already gone through and done this video, but I mixed up my SD cards and formatted one, and that happened to be the one with most of this video. So I'm redoing it. Unfortunately, you won't get any bright, vibrant colors. Today I'm just going to be doing black and gray. Actually more of a silver gray, but I need the gray for a project that I got coming up. So I just want to take you along, show you the process and what I do and how I do it. So let's take a look at some of the things that I use first in the process. So first, obviously, you've got to have your dyes. I like to have a mask, obviously, because I've got breathing issues, but these dyes are chemicals and they can create some fumes, so it's good to have a mask to help protect you from those. The other thing is a form of acid. Now I'm using Jacquard's citric acid. I don't have much left of it, but you can also use white vinegar. I like to have some regular white goose feathers. These I just use for testing. So once I've got the dye set, I can test these and just make sure it's kind of the color that I want. A good thermometer to be able to check your temperatures. And then of course your pans. I've got two here, one for black and then one for the gray. I'm just getting them up to temperature now. I want them to be about 180 to 185 before we add our feathers, and then we'll turn the heat down. The feathers I've got sitting in a bath right now. This is just a little bit of soapy water. They are, as you can see, cinnamon turkey tails. I got a couple of white ones so we can kind of see the difference between cinnamon and white. But I figured with going to gray and black, cinnamon might not be a bad option. Cinnamon dyes out actually really, really nicely, especially yellows, and that gives them kind of like a really nice, almost a dirty yellow color. Alright, so once this gets up to temp, I'll show you how I add the dye, and we'll get that rolling. Alright, so these are heating up nicely. Temperatures right now, this one is at 167, and then in the corner it's a little bit less, but directly over the heat source is getting there. And the other one is just a little bit cooler, but that is a larger pan. But we can go ahead and add the dye now, and then we'll mix that up, get the dye all dissolved, get the acid all dissolved, and by that time it should be about ready to add the feathers. I'm going to put my mask on. Hopefully you guys will be able to hear me. Oh, another good thing to have is a nice pair of gloves. And you also want to wear some clothes that you don't want to get dye on, just in case. Since I'm working with black, I figured a black shirt wouldn't be a bad idea. Alright, so put my mask on. So for the dyes, I'm going to start with silver gray. And this one, well, for each pan I think I'm going to start with about a half a teaspoon. Each one of these is a quarter. And so, yeah. That's about a half teaspoon. And then we'll get the jet black. Now you see I'm using Jacquard's. I like Jacquard's the best. I've tried a couple of different dyes and I just feel like Jacquard's, it just takes better. Alright, so now I like to use a whisk. Gets everything in there nicely. Helps stir it up much easier. I'm going to also turn on the fume hood, so it might get a little bit loud. I'm sorry for that, but it is necessary. Alright, next we'll go ahead and add our dye fixer, but you don't need much of this either. This I usually just sprinkle in. I don't necessarily measure that out very much. Alright, check our temperatures. 175, 178. And this one's 172, 77. Alright, so a couple more minutes before we actually get the turkey. But I am going to go ahead and try out a couple of my goose shoulder feathers. And we'll let those sit for a couple of minutes, and that'll just give us an idea of the color. Now, as you can see already, starting to get nice gray color on that. And this one's already getting a nice dark black color. Just a close up of this. Okay, so these are good to go ahead and add our turkey feathers. So we'll take these from the bath. And rinse off one pair. And add these to the silver gray. And then we're going to turn this heat right down. Don't turn the heat down, you can wind up burning the feathers, and you wind up with wrinkling around the edges, and obviously that's no good. And then we'll take these and add them to the brush. And we'll do the same. We turn the heat down. Now these are going to sit for about 15 or 20 minutes. I'll come back. I'll keep stirring them, and basically you just want to keep the feathers moving a little bit as they absorb the dye from around them. You're going to have to make sure that they get more water with dye that's closest to them. So you want to stir them up and keep dunking them a little bit. As you can see, they float. And if you look closer, you can see there's little bubbles on there. Those little bubbles can actually wind up on the dye, on the feather itself after you've done dyeing. So you really want to make sure that you get rid of some of those bubbles. Just keep dunking them and stirring. And then we'll keep doing this, and I'll be back in about that much. Alright, so here we are now. It's been about 15 minutes. I'm going to set you guys right here. Now what we'll do is we'll take these out, and we're just going to run a little bit under some cool water, and kind of just get the remaining dye out of them. I don't really have a better spot to place you guys, sorry about that. Color looks like it took well, except for some reason it almost has a purple hue to it. We'll have to see when it dries. Alright, so that's the gray. Take these out as well. Black. The black looks nice and dark. It's taken all the way through the stem. They look good. As you can see, I've already run cold water through it. None of the color ran out. Stayed nice and dark. Same thing with the goose, and then the other turkey, which is obviously it's a much smaller turkey feather. Okay, so now we'll take these and I'll take you guys over to the drying table. And I just use a towel, which, I'll get this propped up here. And we just take the towel and lay these out. We'll let these air dry and let them dry naturally. Shouldn't take too long, a few hours, to the point that what I like to do is after like a couple of hours, when they start to dry a little bit, take the feather back up and spin it a little in your hands. And by spinning it, you'll splay out all the fibers. That'll allow them to dry the rest of the way. Then once they're dry, I'll show you how I prepare them, preen them, steam them, and get them ready for tying. Alright, I'll see you guys in a few. Here we are some hours later now. Get you guys sit. Alright, so you can see they're dry, and what I had done was I just go through and I do just go like this a couple times, and that just spreads the fibers out so that way they're able to dry faster. But now you can see they're all kind of a little bit ratty. So I take each feather and I just start to very gently work them and I do mean gently. And these lower ones down here kind of typically do that anyway, but I'll show you how to make this a little bit better also. So I'll go through each feather and get them all back to shape. Really doesn't take that long, but I guess when you're doing 100 of these, it takes a little bit of time. This black came out really nice. Sorry about the lighting, by the way. My dining room lighting is a little bit, I don't know, Tracy likes the amber. She likes the amber light. She doesn't like the bright ones, which is fine by me. I don't mind it. As long as over by my desk, my lamps are nice and bright. Alright, so now I've gone through and I've made sure that they're all married back together for the most part. And then you'll notice that, you know, they might be a little bit on the wavy side. So, you know, that's kind of a little bit wavy. And these right along the edge, they're a bit wavy. Well, I'll show you how we can take that out. And then these were the goose test feathers. Alright, and even you can see even the waviness in these. So we'll take these into the kitchen. I'll see you over there. So I've got the pot of water set up. You know, a lot of people have actually mentioned, you know, getting a steamer or something like that. This works just fine. I mean, I just get it so I have a nice mist coming up. And it actually can hold the whole, you know, you can coat the whole feather with it nice and easy. And you can almost watch the feather straighten out. And you can watch the curls start to move a little bit along the edge. And then you just, like you were doing, like I was doing before, now you have a much neater, much flatter, more connected edge. And a good looking turkey tail ready to be used. These lower parts where it gets kind of wispy right down in through here gets a little bit difficult to work with when marrying wings. Most of the time you're probably going to use the majority of what's up in here, but this is down here can still be used. You see that waviness along here. I almost just, not necessarily wipe it away, but kind of. There we go. And that's it. And that's really the process that I go through for preparing turkey feathers and dyeing them. The process is no different for any other color. They may stay in a dye bath a little bit longer. If sometimes I've had a couple of dyes that I've worked with that I didn't like, and what I wind up having to do is re-dye them. But you kind of don't see it until after the feather has dried, and then you can actually get a good look at the coloration. You know, did it penetrate all the way down through the stem? Did it penetrate just the stem? Is it too light around the edges? So sometimes I do have to wind up going back and dyeing them a second time. Alright, so here's the smaller ones. Remember how those showed the wrinkling along the edge? And even though these are smaller, these will still do a 3/0 to a 4/0 hook. And as you can see, another feather ready to be used. And then we'll take this one, which is also looking a little bit wrinkly and disheveled. I'll probably wind up getting a steamer at some point just so I don't have to use the kitchen stuff, but as you can see now, the rest of the feather is in relatively much better shape. And you know, you can do this with just about any kind of feather. If you get feathers that are deformed, that you know, you buy them, golden pheasant crests, for example. You can steam those the same. You don't have to dye them or anything. Just take them out, steam them just the same. Hold them over some water for a little bit. You'll watch those start to lay back out again. You can start to kind of massage the feather a little bit to help straighten it. Get it all back to the shape that it was. And that's it. And the feathers are ready to be sorted and bagged. So that's it. That's the simple process that I use for dyeing feathers. It doesn't change for color. Like I said, just adjust your times accordingly, and it's not too hard to figure out. So if you guys found this video helpful and informative, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, think about subscribing, and don't forget to turn on your post notifications and let you know when I'm having my next video out. Have yourselves a wonderful night, everyone. Take care.